Hey guys, it's Kayla and Mark Allen. We like to travel a lot, especially to Disney World. Follow along on our journey as we give you tips and tricks to help you create your own ever after. Recently, we got back from a trip to Disney World and Universal Orlando Resort. We've always loved to use Magical Express to get from the airport to our Disney resort, but since things have changed and Magical Express is no longer free, we decided to mix things up and try some of the new options available.
The first leg of our trip was to Universal Orlando Resort. They offer a paid shuttle option called the Superstar Shuttle. This is a bus or van type shuttle that will pick you up from the airport and take you to Universal Resort and vice versa.
It is $39 per adult and $29 per child ages 3 to 9 for round trip. If you're only needing it one way like we did, it's $23 per adult and $18 per child ages 3 to 9. For both, children 2 and under are free and there are no additional charges for the number of bags you have unless you're ridiculous and have like 5 per person. I'm sure there's probably a charge then.
Before our trip, we added this to our reservation. They then sent us a phone number to call to give our flight info so they knew when to expect us upon arrival.
Let's check in with our past selves to talk about the check-in process and the experience.
Okay, we made it onto the shuttle. So it's actually just another MEARS coach. So
honestly, I'm pretty sure it's a retired Magical Express bus.
Probably. It looks just like one.
It does.
So my guess is that these experiences are going to be pretty similar. I will say the check-in process was like 2 seconds. It was super easy.
It seemed almost too easy.
There was no people there. And so we just walked right up. The guy asked us our last name. We gave it to him. And then he gave us a little food voucher coupon for, I think, the Hard Rock Cafe, and then he gave us a little lanyard. So yeah. I thought that was really neat. And then you just walk right outside.
Which I will say, the check-in for the Superstar Shuttle service is right next to Hertz Rental Service.
Yeah, and again, it's in Terminal A, not B. So that's super important to remember, because if you're going to Disney, you go to B. If you're going to Universal, you're gonna go to Terminal A. But then right outside, there's another little check-in desk. He'll ask where you're going, and then he'll just point you to which coach to get on. I will say, I know sometimes, depending on like how busy it is, I have heard that sometimes it's more like they'll do like a van type situation. So yeah. I think that just kind of depends.
Okay, so we made it to Cabana Bay, and honestly, my initial thoughts are I love it. Like we were just in the lobby. Outside is like, I love the retro vibe to it. I told Kayla, I was like, it kind of reminds me a little bit of Pop Century.
So when you arrive and you are ready to check in, there are actually going to be 2 lines. So we checked in online yesterday, so we are in that line, but there is another line if you did not check in online. So just be aware, there are 2 lines, so make sure you get in the right one so you're not having to wait too terribly long.
Check-in at our resort was pretty easy. We'll talk a little more about this during our Cabana Bay Beach Resort tour video, so make sure you're subscribed and have that notification bell hit so you know when that video comes out.
Shifting gears a little, let's talk about MEARS Connect, which is what we used at the end of our trip. We'll get to that in just a sec, but just make sure that you are stay tuned to the end where we share our opinion on our experience and which one we liked better. The answer might actually surprise you.
The main shuttle option for Disney has changed over to MEARS Connect. There are a few other paid options that are available, such as Sunshine Flyer, but in this video, we are just going to be talking about MEARS Connect.
MEARS is actually the company that used to run Magical Express, so the buses are pretty much the same. It is now a paid offering that is currently priced at $32 round trip per adult and $27 per child ages 3 to 9. Children 2 and under are also free. One way is $16 per adult and $13.50 per child.
You can book MEARS ahead of time through the website. There are walk-up options available as well, but I wouldn't recommend this, just so you make sure your ducks are in a row ahead of time.
Just a heads up, if all of this is sounding a little too complicated, don't worry, I can help. I'm a travel consultant affiliated with Goofy Getaways, and one of my complimentary services is making all the bookings and arrangements for you. There's more information on how to get started in the description box below.
If you are using this service from the airport to the resort, you will check in pretty similarly to the Universal Superstar Shuttle. The main difference is that it's located on the first level of Terminal B, not Terminal A. The other difference is that you will be emailed a QR code to scan to show that you have a reservation.
Before we jump back over to our past selves to talk about the huge mistake that we made, we wanted to mention the second option for MEARS Connect. The regular service, which is what we experienced, may mean that you will make stops at several resorts. Depending on what resort you are going to, that may mean that you're going to be on the bus for a while. If this does not appeal to you, you can always do the express service. This is currently $250 round trip for a group of 4 people total, and an additional $55 per person if you have more than that. Keep in mind, this does not mean that it is a private thing. It just means that they will only be making one stop directly to your resort and not servicing several other resorts.
Now let's jump back to our past selves and see what it was like actually using the service.
Okay, we have made it onto the MEARS Connect bus, and we had a little bit of a interesting snafu. I don't know if it was my fault or if it was something on the system end. So originally when we were coming on this trip, we were going to be staying at All-Star Music for the whole time. But then a few weeks ago, we changed it to where we were doing a split stay, and we were going to be ending our trip at Pop Century. And I thought I had went in and changed that with our reservation, but maybe I didn't, or it didn't read. I'm not totally sure. But basically this, 20 minutes ago, I was checking our confirmation one more time.
Mark Allen was in the bathroom changing for our flight.
And I realized that it said that it was going to be picking us up at All-Star Music, and I was like, oh no.
And I was like, shoot, because at that point it was 20 minutes before we were supposed to be on our bus, and we were like, we don't have enough time to Uber or something over to All-Star Music or whatever.
So we would have had to Uber to the airport if it wasn't going to work out. But it worked out, and it was great, and it was fine. Luckily, the bus that came was close enough to our time that he said it's more about the time than it is the pickup location. So he was able to scan us successfully to go ahead and be part of his group to the airport. So we are on the bus, and we made it, and it was just fine.
So yeah, you probably won't have to deal with that situation, but it's good to know that if you do have an issue, just talk to the bus drivers and they are happy to help.
Now our thoughts on the overall experience. Essentially, they are pretty much the same. They are both run by MEARS, and they are essentially the same buses, just with different wraps. The biggest difference we noticed was the price. Superstar Shuttle is a little bit more expensive, but I think that is just because it's not as heavily used and it's been around longer. MEARS Connect is still pretty new, so prices could always change in the future.
We lucked out on our way to Cabana Bay and just so happened to be the first stop, so it was pretty fast. On our way to the airport, however, we were the first stop to be picked up, so we were actually on that bus for a good 30 to 45 minutes before finally heading to the airport. We have TSA pre-check, so it wasn't a big deal for us, but if you don't have that, and I 100% recommend getting it, it could have been a little bit of a stressful situation.
I also want to say that if you are using MEARS Connect, double check your reservation the day before. They sometimes may change your pickup time, and if you have an early flight, you may just want to make sure you're awake and ready to go so you don't miss your bus.
I've had this happen to a few people I know, and obviously we had something somewhat similar happen to us, but the moral of the story is just to make sure that you check your confirmation beforehand.
I think both of these options are going to be great for larger families or those that just tend to have a lot of extra luggage with them. We personally had 7 bags between the two of us, and it definitely would have been more expensive to Uber.
We were also pretty impressed with MEARS as a company. We had posted some pics and tagged them in our Instagram stories, and they were very eager to reach out and personally ask us about our experience. They did tell us that they are still in process of getting the shuttles, both MEARS Connect and Superstar Shuttle, wrapped, and apparently there's some sort of ride video that they're working on. It's probably similar to the videos that they used to have for Magical Express.
A huge thing that I want to talk about with both of these services is that they are not available if you are flying into another airport like Sanford. MEARS does offer some other shuttle transportation, but the pricing and experience are going to probably be pretty different. If you are flying into Sanford, you can make sure you look into these alternative options, but it may be easier just to take an Uber.
I also would not always recommend these services if you're just two people with not a lot of bags. We've Ubered from the airport before and it was pretty comparable in price, and honestly it was a lot quicker since they're going directly to your resort. If time is precious and you're trying to hurry to get to the parks or your resort, Uber or another private transportation option might be better.
So let us know in the comments, would you try out one of these transportation options or have you already? Let us know your thoughts. And of course, if you have any questions, we're always happy to help.
That's all we have for you guys today.
Now go create your ever after.
You heifer?
It's like a giant run-on sentence.
Yeah.
It's located on the first level of Terminal A.
B.
Dang it.
We were presently surprised.
Shut up.
Bless it.
We did have a little weird...
Snafu.
The hell is a snafu? That is not a word that I would say, or anyone else for that matter.
I literally said it in the video. In the vlog, I
Okay,
said snafu.
How much sleep did you get last night?
2 hours? We will.
Take a nap.
No, we're gonna go to the pool.
Well, I mean take a nap on the shuttle.
Oh.
And it smells so good. It smells kind of like beachy vibe, I guess. Sure. Yeah, we'll go with that.